We are back with another video, and here are 5 things that I, Super Heavy Sam, does not do as a comic book collector. Let's get into it. Not going to waste your time. Number one, I do not collect tie-ins. Why, you may ask? To me, it's a waste of time and it's a waste of money. I know. How can you be a collector if you're not fully collecting? To me, collecting is just collecting the way you want to collect. If you don't like it, oh well. I do not collect tie-ins. And that stems from buying tie-ins and realizing I was spending so much more money. And the tie-ins had nothing to do with the story. They had something to do with the story because they're a tie-in, but they weren't impactful at all. And I made that decision after the Blood Hunt storyline, reading some of those stories like the Magic storyline, the Jubilee storyline, like the tie-ins, and they weren't impactful. I read them and I'm like, okay, where's this going? The Miles Morales one was decent, pretty good. But other than that, tie-ins to me is a waste of money. Ultimately, a waste of money. I'm not gonna say it's a waste of time because there are some tie-ins that if you are reading that particular story, like let's say with the Blood Hunt had Fantastic Four tie-ins. If you were already reading Fantastic Four, if I was already reading Fantastic Four, it wouldn't be a waste of time because I'm already reading that title. So just more content in that storyline. But yes, it really is a waste of money. And when you go back and look at the receipts and how much you spent just for tie-ins alone, or stories that you probably won't even reference again, it gets up there. All right, we got number two. This one right here is going to be not really controversial because I feel like that word is being thrown around a lot and being really overused. But I do not. I'm not gonna say I do not. I tend to stay away from reading Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. My reason has nothing to do with all the controversy that's going on uh, as of late, but uh, it to me, the characters alone aren't toxic, but they tend to bring toxic traits out of people, and that's what I kind of stay away from. Uh, for me, Batman has so many ongoing titles that, again, kind of like going back to the tie-in, uh, the tie-ins, it causes you to spend more money, especially if you're a Batman fan, because you're going to pick all that up. That's a lot of money. And I know it's going to lead to, if you broke, just say that I am broke. So I'm saying that. I'm not buying all that Batman. I'm not buying all that Batman. There's so much back and forth on what's canon, what isn't, what's mainline, what isn't. I know that was kind of redundant, but you get what I'm saying. Stay away from Superman because I personally just feel like Superman is overrated. I really don't care to read him. Absolute Superman has been a great read, but outside of that, I have never. That has been my first time sitting and reading a Superman run. Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman to me, again, it's a mixture of Batman and Superman. I just feel like she's just overrated. She's always in the center or something. And again, she just brings out toxic traits in people when she comes up in discussion. So I just try to avoid those three for that reason because I am a reader who likes to sit and read, talk, debate, banter a little bit. But when I see Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman brought up in conversations, it is just absolutely just horrific. And that's just from personal experience. Now, if you've had good experiences, whoop de doo. I wish I could put that sound effect in. But anyway, it just it my experiences is never good when it comes to those three. All right, going to number three. One a third thing that I don't do as a comic collector, I do not engage in FOMO activities. I don't care how hype a book may be, how hyped a book is getting, how hyped a character is getting. If they're not my cup of tea, I will not pick it up. Absolute Batman was. the most talked about from the moment it was announced to the moment it dropped, and I still never picked up the book. Um, you can just be like, oh, if you don't pick this up, then you're missing out. Then I'll miss out because I don't read that. I don't read that character. I don't read that particular title. I read what I like. So all you guys can be over there talking about a book. I might come over. I'll listen. But as far as just being intrigued enough to force myself to like it or dive into it, I won't. Going into number four, I don't keep up with artists and writers, and this right here is the like a big one. Honestly, this should have been number five. This should have been like the ending of the video, but this right here is, I'm going to say, controversial because a lot of people I've noticed get really butthurt if you do not know slash respect a particular writer or artist. If you're active on TikTok, you kind of know what's been going on there with the whole Tom King situation. I'm not going to keep going into it, but the situation was around Tom King and Wonder Woman. Uh, and me personally, the only writers I really know is like when I say no, I mean I've read more than 100 issues of their work. Uh, if you ask me right now, boom, name five writers, I'm only going to give you these two names, and that's Jeff Johns and Todd McFarlane. And that's because Jeff Johns wrote the 2005 Green Lantern. Todd McFarlane is best known for Spawn, and that's because I'm caught up with the Spawn universe. I read all 2005 Green Lantern run, and those are pretty much my favorite writers and the only ones I really care to know. As far as artists, Patrick Gleason and Todd McFarlane. Again, Todd McFarlane for Spawn, Patrick Gleason for Green Lantern. And Patrick Gleason actually commented on one of my TikToks because I was showing that I actually completed the run, and he commented, "Hey, those books look familiar." And when I saw his name, I compared it to the books because even up till then, I did not know who he was. And then when I compared it, and I was like, "Oh snap!" So literally, those are the only people I know. Anyone else, I really don't care. Uh, because when I read a book, um, yes, you should know the book for the writer, but when I choose a book, I'm choosing it solely based off character and most times off of chance. And I would never know who wrote it. All I know is it was a good book because there are some Jeff Johns titles. He wrote every other stuff besides Green Lantern, but the other stuff he wrote, I don't, not really my cup of tea. Uh, Patrick Gleason, although I really enjoy his artwork in Green Lantern, I don't have that keen eye to look at another book and be like, oh, Patrick Gleason, you know, uh, did the artwork in that. So it's like, when I read a book, I'm indulging in the book. So it's like I don't sit there and take the time to break down how a writer writes, how an artist draws. At the end of the day, if I like it, I like it. So, and last on the list, this right here might hit hard. For the most part, there are content creators I respect. There are content creators who opinions I respect, but I do not take any of their words to heart. Not going to name drop any of them, but I do have some that I do watch on TikTok, I do watch on YouTube, but they can get on here right now and say, oh, hey, the new Spawn book isn't good, or the new Flash book is absolutely phenomenal. And if you're not reading it, you're missing out on greatness. I really don't care because I don't read Flash all that much. I will read it, not that much. And you know, Spawn. I'm biased against Spawn. Spawn, Green Lantern are the two titles I am biased about. I don't care if you say the book sucks. I don't care if they release the book with no words in the text bubbles. Tom McFarlane. Um, neither here or there. Was it Tom McFarlane? I forgot what book that was. For some reason, I want to think it was a Spawn book. It might not have been a Spawn book. I want to take that back. But there was a book that was released that did not have words in the speech bubbles, and everybody thought it was actually part of the book. And come to find out, it wasn't. It was not a Spawn book. I'm going to recant that statement, but it was a book that I am currently like reading. I just don't remember which one. But I don't care. I like what I like. I'm not the type of person to ask for recommendations. I'm not ask. I mean, I'll ask for your thoughts on it, and again, I will respect your opinion taken into consideration. But I'm not going to base my whole comic book collecting solely on what other people do. And the things I have said as up until now, I'm saying it because I have experienced it, I've seen it, I've heard it, and there are people who will not read a certain book. There are people who will not like a certain writer, certain artist, who would not like other content creators solely based on what a creator has said. I have seen it firsthand, and I will not fall into that category of being a follower. Now, if you just respect their opinions, I get that. But to just flat out say, oh, I don't read that because such and such did a review on it and he said it was bad. Well, did you read it? No, no, no. But he gave detail. But how do you know if you don't like it just because he or she doesn't like it? Like, come on, think for yourself. But with that being said, those are my five things that I don't do as a comic book creator, not comic book creator, comic book collector. Uh, Again, this is all opinionated. I mean, so far I've collected over 1,000 comic books with this list in mind, and being able to collect over 1,000 books based off that, you know, that says a lot. It means I'm not picky. It means that when I start a run of something, I actually see it through. Uh, I have things in my collection that other creators have said are bad. I don't have things in my collection that creators have said are good. Uh, Again, throughout my whole collection, I can only tell you two artists and two writers. And based off my League of Comic Geek, based off that stats, I have a bunch of writers and artists between all these books, and I can only name you four. Uh, so with that being said, keep collecting, guys. Think for yourself, like what you like, collect what you want to collect, and I'll see you in the next one. With that being said, I know y'all see my face sporadically. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on TikTok, even on TikTok, you've barely seen my face. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm gonna try to drop more videos. Uh, Again, as I said before in a video probably like 2 years ago, when I come back, it's not even going to be acknowledged, even though I just acknowledged it. But yeah, I'm out of here.